My name is Martin Howard. I've been collecting 19th century typewriters from the 1880s and 1890s for 22 years now.
From the film California Typewriter, Toronto's Martin Howard. He is among several collectors portrayed in the new documentary, including Tom Hanks and John Mayer. It examines the fascination surrounding typewriters. Howard has 80 vintage typewriters in his collection. He showed off a couple to us in our newsroom today as we talked about the film. So Martin, you brought us a couple of typewriters here. Tell us what we're looking at.
Thank you, Dwight. Both of these typewriters are 19th century and both have a historical importance about them. This is the Victor typewriter from 1889.
1889.
1889, that's getting on, isn't it? And it's the first typewriter to use a daisy wheel. Those people who were around in the 1970s will remember this wheel with little flexible spokes, and at the end of each spoke would be a character.
Yes.
It would spin very quick and it would tap, 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 tap onto the paper. Well, this is a daisy wheel from 1889, and I'll show you how it works. You put your finger in that little finger cup and you go back and forth, and you can see this wheel is turning.
Oh.
That's selecting the correct spoke of the wheel, and then you push down. And you can see that little hammer moving right here.
That is old school, yes.
That's the Victor.
And this one?
Both, by the way, are American machines. This is the Crandall typewriter from 1887, and it's the first typewriter. Think IBM golf ball, which came out in 1961, that single type element, that little ball, you could change them around. Well, here it is appearing the first time on a typewriter in 1887 called the Crandall, and I'll show it to you. I'll lift it up. There it is. See that cylinder? It's the shape and size of your finger, and the characters are on the periphery. So when you turn, push a key, I should say, it turns to position, strikes the ribbon against the paper, bang, bang. I'll give you a little bit of typing there. So this is the first golf ball, 1887. I started collecting 30 years ago. I wanted something 19th century mechanical to collect, something not too heavy to bring into the house, something with great variety in design, and also I wanted to collect something that wasn't collected by too many others, because I wanted to be able to get my treasure at a good price. So 2 years later, I found an early typewriter, and my journey began.
Now, you're such a big collector. They actually made a movie about typewriters, and you're part of that movie. And the two other people profiled in the film are actor Tom Hanks and musician John Mayer. Explain why you think people like to keep using typewriters today.
You know, and using them, and as a resurgence of interest, because people under the age of 30 typically haven't used a typewriter, but everybody types, so it gets you using a machine with a great tactile sense. You get the sound, you push the keys, you get the immediacy of the type bars whacking the letter on the paper, bang, 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 and the letter appears in front of you. So it's that intimacy that really makes it a different tool than a computer. Also, people say that when you're on a typewriter, it sort of slows you down. It gives you a chance to think more about what you're typing. It's as if you're chiseling out a piece of wood with a hammer and chisel. It's a wonderful tool. If anyone has not tried a manual typewriter, they should.
Talk about the movie and the fascination, this kind of resurgence of interest in this machine.
The movie, it's a wonderful film. I'm so proud to be in it, California Typewriter. It has some famous people in it, as you've mentioned, and some non-famous people. I'm in the latter group, but we all do nifty things with typewriters. I'm the historian. I collect early typewriters. Sam Shepard is in it, the late, great Sam Shepard, and he has only used a typewriter. All the plays he's written, all the books, only on a typewriter. Kids love typewriters too. There's all ages.
The sound and the bang.
They love the sound, and they look at it and they can relate to it because there's a keyboard, but there's a great mystery there for them as well. And kids, when they sit down on the manual typewriter, they don't want to leave. So if you want to occupy your kids, turn off the TV and put a manual typewriter in front of them. See what?
So I have to ask you now, what do you use? Do you use a typewriter or do you use a computer?
Well,
I'll be honest.
I love my Mac. But all my typewriters, I work on them, I restore them, so I get right into the inner workings and I take them apart, so I experience their mechanical wonder. But I love my Mac. The film, by the way, is not saying you should not use your computers. The film is saying use new technology, but don't forget the great tools of the past. It's saying you can use both. You know, diversity and choice, diversity and tools. So there you go.
Appreciate you sharing, Martin.
Thank you, Dwight.
These are very cool.
I probably have 250 plus typewriters in my collection, and I would say that 90% of them are in perfect working order.
Love that. As we mentioned, some big names also featured in the film with their collections. It's set to open in Toronto tomorrow. You can catch it at the Hot Docs Ted Rogers Cinema. And if you want to see Martin Howard's personal collection, it's all online. It's at antiquetypewriters.com. A brisk, bright